Ethan was used to quiet. The hum of the research station was like a soft lullaby he could almost sleep to. Astra 9 had been his home for nearly 2 years, a remote station orbiting a planet that few humans had ever seen. The station was vast, with corridors that twisted like veins and rooms stacked neatly on top of each other. Yet despite its size, Ethan felt alone most of the time, and he liked it that way. It gave him space to think, to tinker, and to work without interruption. He had been fixing the energy core in his small quarters for the better part of the afternoon. The core wasn't complicated, not to him, but it was picky. Every time he tried to calibrate it, the readouts flickered, as if mocking his efforts. Ethan sighed and wiped a streak of sweat from his brow. "Come on, work with me here," he muttered, adjusting a few wires. The door slid open with a quiet hiss, and he froze. He had expected no one. No one ever came to this part of the station. Slowly, he turned his head. Standing in the doorway was a figure that seemed almost unreal. She was tall, taller than any human, with smooth, iridescent skin that shimmered in shades of blue and green under the dim light. Her eyes glowed softly, reflecting the station's lights like polished gems. Ethan swallowed hard. Can I help you?" he asked, though his voice sounded weaker than he wanted. The alien woman stepped into the room, moving with a confidence that made it seem like she had been here hundreds of times before. She didn't wait for permission. She didn't pause to explain herself. She simply walked in, her gaze scanning the room as if she owned it. "I am Lyra," she said, her voice smooth but firm, carrying a musical quality that made Ethan's skin tingle. "I have come to speak with you, Ethan." He blinked. You know my name?" "Yes," Lyra said simply. She moved closer to his workbench, her fingers hovering over his tools without touching them. "I know a great deal about you, about this station, about your work here." Ethan felt a chill run down his spine. He had expected strangers, aliens even, during his work in space, but never someone who seemed to know his every move. Why are you here?" he asked, trying to keep his voice steady. Lyra's gaze turned toward him, sharp and assessing. "There is a threat, a danger that could affect many worlds. I am here because you hold the key to stopping it." Ethan frowned. "Me? I'm just an engineer. I fix broken things." How could I stop a threat across worlds?" She smiled faintly, though it didn't reach her glowing eyes. "Your skills are unique. Your perspective, your creativity. Humans are underestimated, Ethan, even by those who consider themselves far superior." He shook his head, incredulous. "Superior? What are you talking about?" Lyra stepped closer and gestured to the station beyond his window. "The galaxy is larger than you know. Civilizations rise and fall. Many believe humans are weak, predictable, bound by their limitations. They are wrong. You are capable of things they cannot imagine." Ethan took a step back, unsure whether to be terrified or intrigued. "So, you just show up and say I'm important. That's it?" Lyra tilted her head, studying him. "It is not just words. I have evidence. And I need your help before it is too late." He looked at her, then at his energy core. The mundane task he had been focused on suddenly seemed trivial. He had dreamed of adventure, of stepping outside the station and seeing what was out there, but he had never expected it to come like this, so sudden, so real, and so dangerous. "Okay," he said slowly. "Let's say I believe you. What do I have to do?" Lyra's expression softened slightly. "First, you need to trust me. We will need to access areas of this station that are restricted, areas no human has ever been allowed to enter, and you will need to use your mind and your hands to solve problems that my species cannot." Ethan swallowed. He had spent years working on human technology, modifying it, making it more efficient. But the station's core systems were designed by a coalition of alien engineers, and he knew his knowledge would be useful. "All right," he said, "I'll do it, but I'm warning you, I'm just a human. I don't know what I'm capable of out there." Lyra stepped back and gave him a nod of approval. "Humans often doubt themselves. That is precisely why you succeed where others fail. Come." Together, they walked through the station. Lyra moved with effortless grace, her presence commanding yet strangely calming. Ethan followed, trying not to feel out of place. Every corridor they passed seemed unfamiliar now, even though he had walked them hundreds of times. With her, the station felt larger, filled with purpose. They reached a sealed door marked with alien symbols. Lyra touched the panel beside it, and it glowed under her hand. "You will need to override this access lock. Humans are better at improvisation. Your turn." Ethan stepped forward, examining the panel. He had learned to bypass complex systems before, but this was different. The alien design was intricate, almost organic, with circuits that pulsed like living veins. He took a deep breath and began working. He traced the circuits, pushed the right sequences, and slowly the door hissed open. Lyra's eyes glimmered with approval. "Exactly as I thought. Your species is adaptable." Beyond the door was a corridor lined with glowing conduits and panels. Ethan's heart raced. This was beyond anything he had ever seen, far beyond the hum of his energy core. "What? What is this place?" "This is where the station hides its secrets," Lyra said. "And one of those secrets threatens the galaxy." As they moved deeper, she explained, a rival alien faction had created a device capable of destabilizing planets' cores. If activated, it could destroy entire worlds. The device was hidden somewhere in this station, and only someone with Ethan's ingenuity could neutralize it safely. Ethan felt a mixture of awe and fear. He had always believed that humans were small, insignificant in the grand universe. Now, he was faced with proof that humans could change the course of galactic events. Hours passed as they explored. Lyra guided him, but she often paused to let him figure out complex mechanisms on his own. His hands moved over alien technology, twisting wires, analyzing readouts, improvising where the alien systems made no sense to him. Every time he solved a problem, Lyra's eyes seemed to sparkle with an emotion he could not read. At one point, they entered a room filled with strange, humming orbs. Ethan carefully examined the largest one. Its core pulsed with energy, unstable, threatening to overload. He realized that one wrong move could destroy the station. He adjusted the containment fields, rerouted energy flows, and stabilized the orb. Lyra watched silently, impressed. You did it," she said finally, her voice filled with awe. "A machine like this has never been stabilized by my species. Only a human could have done it." Ethan smiled, a mix of pride and disbelief. "I just followed my instincts." Lyra shook her head. "No, you followed your mind, your creativity, your courage. These are qualities we have overlooked. You are not just a human. You are a force." For the first time, Ethan realized the truth in her words. Humans were underestimated. They were clever, adaptable, and unpredictable. Maybe that unpredictability was exactly what the galaxy needed. By the end of the day, Ethan and Lyra stood before a massive door, sealed with alien technology far beyond anything he had seen. "Behind this door is the device," Lyra explained. "We must stop it before the rival faction arrives. Are you ready?" Ethan took a deep breath, feeling fear and excitement mix in his chest. He glanced at Lyra. She looked calm, confident, almost like she had already seen the outcome. "Yeah," he said finally. "Let's do this." She nodded. "Good. Remember, your human mind is our advantage. Trust yourself." As they began the process of unlocking the door, Ethan felt a strange sense of purpose he had never known. The quiet engineer who once lived alone on Astra 9 was gone. In his place stood someone ready to face the unknown, someone who could make a difference. And for the first time in years, he felt alive. Ethan's hands hovered over the alien control panel, his mind racing. The massive door before him was alive with energy, pulsing in strange patterns he had never seen before. Lyra stood beside him, calm and poised, as if she had done this hundreds of times. Yet Ethan knew the responsibility rested on his shoulders. This was a machine capable of destroying entire planets. One wrong move, and Astra 9 itself could be torn apart. He took a deep breath and let his instincts guide him. He studied the circuits, tracing the energy flows like he had done with smaller machines countless times before. The design was unfamiliar, alien in every sense, but he noticed patterns, tiny irregularities that only a human with his combination of logic and creativity could detect. "This section," he said, pointing at a series of glowing conduits. "They're connected in a loop. If we reroute the energy here and here, we can stabilize the core enough to open the door without triggering the failsafe." Lyra watched closely, her glowing eyes narrowing slightly. "I doubted humans could think in such a flexible way. Proceed carefully." Ethan nodded and began adjusting the conduits, rewiring and reconnecting circuits with trembling hands. Sparks flew and the panel hissed, but he stayed focused. Step by step, he rewrote the energy flow, creating a path the alien designers had never intended. Finally, the door responded. It vibrated, then slid open with a deep, resonant hum. Beyond the door was a chamber unlike anything Ethan had ever imagined. A colossal device dominated the room, its core glowing like a dying star. Energy arcs danced across the surface, crackling with dangerous intensity. The walls were lined with alien symbols, screens displaying calculations, and conduits feeding the device with unimaginable power. "This is it," Lyra said softly. "The destabilizer." Ethan's heart pounded. He had expected something big, but this was beyond comprehension. He stepped closer, analyzing the device. "It's unstable," he said. "If we touch the wrong part, it could collapse the station's orbit, or worse." Lyra nodded. "We need to neutralize it, but we cannot destroy it. The energy it holds is too vast. Only a careful shutdown will work." Ethan's mind raced. Alien technology of this complexity was supposed to be immune to human intervention. Yet here he was, the quiet engineer from Astra 9, faced with the impossible. He took a deep breath and let his instincts guide him, thinking of every repair he had ever made, every malfunction he had ever fixed. Hours passed as he worked, rewiring conduits, stabilizing energy fields, and rerouting the device's power. Lyra assisted when necessary, providing information and adjustments that only her alien knowledge could offer. Together, they worked in perfect harmony, human ingenuity, complementing alien precision. As Ethan adjusted a final energy flow, the device pulsed violently, and the room shook. Alarms blared throughout the station. The rival factions' ships had arrived, their scanners detecting the activity inside Astra 9. Ethan's pulse quickened. "They're here," he said, tension rising in his voice. Lyra's expression remained calm. "Then we must finish before they can act. Trust your mind, trust your hands." Ethan focused. He traced the circuits one last time, rerouting power through a makeshift path he had improvised. Sparks flew, energy arced dangerously, and for a moment it seemed like the entire station would explode. Then, with a shuddering hum, the destabilizer powered down, its glowing core dimming to a harmless pulse. He stepped back, breathing heavily. "We did it!" he said, disbelief in his voice. Lyra's eyes glimmered. "Yes, you did it. Your species, humans. You are remarkable. I had doubted." And yet you have proven me wrong." Their moment of triumph was short-lived. Through the chamber's observation window, Ethan saw the rival ships approaching. The alien pilots expected an easy victory, confident that the station's defenses would fail. Yet as the ships drew closer, the station came alive. Defense systems Ethan had repaired over months powered up. Turrets aligning, energy shields activating, and automated drones swarming in defense. Lyra glanced at him, a smile touching her lips. "Your human ingenuity extends beyond the device. Your understanding of our technology. It has given us the edge." Ethan watched as the rival ships fired, only to have their weapons blocked and deflected. Every attack they launched was met with a countermeasure he had helped implement, using modifications and improvisations that alien engineers had never considered. One by one, the enemy ships were disabled, forced to retreat in confusion and defeat. When the last ship disappeared into the distance, Ethan sank to the floor, exhausted. Lyra knelt beside him. "You see what you have done," she said softly. "You have saved this station and countless worlds beyond, all because of your mind, your courage, and your human spirit." Ethan shook his head, trying to process everything. He had always thought of humans as ordinary, even weak. Yet here he was, having outsmarted an advanced alien device, defeated a superior faction, and changed the course of events in a galaxy he barely understood. I just did what I thought was right," he said quietly. Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder. The touch was surprisingly warm. "That is exactly why humans are extraordinary. You act not only with skill, but with heart. That is something no technology, no matter how advanced, can replicate." For the first time, Ethan saw himself differently. The quiet engineer, the solitary human on Astra 9, had become something more. He had become a force that even aliens had underestimated. The station was quiet again, the alarms silenced, the danger past. Ethan and Lyra walked back through the corridors, each step feeling lighter than before. Lyra's presence, once intimidating, now felt like guidance, like a partner who understood his value. As they reached Ethan's quarters, Lyra paused. "I must leave soon," she said, her voice carrying a hint of sorrow. "My mission continues, and there are other threats to face." Ethan nodded, trying to hide the disappointment he felt. Will you come back?" Lyra smiled faintly, the glow in her eyes softening. "Perhaps. But remember this, Ethan. Humans are not to be underestimated. You have shown that even the smallest species can change the course of events. And you are not just a human. You are an example of what your people can become." Ethan watched as she stepped toward the door, her figure glowing in the dim light. Then, without another word, she left, the door sliding shut behind her. The quiet hum of the station returned, but Ethan no longer felt alone. He sat at his workbench, staring at the panels and devices around him. Everything looked ordinary, yet he knew it was not. He had faced the impossible and succeeded. He had discovered the strength and ingenuity that humans possessed, the kind of strength that could stand alongside alien civilizations. Days passed, but Ethan's life was never the same. He continued his work, repairing systems, maintaining the station, and exploring new areas. Yet now, every task he approached felt charged with purpose. He had glimpsed the larger universe and understood that humans, though small and underestimated, could leave a mark where no one expected. Then, one quiet evening, as Ethan adjusted a power conduit in his quarters, the door hissed open again. He froze, half expecting another crisis, but it was Lyra. She walked in, her expression calm but carrying that same quiet authority. "I told you I might return," she said softly. "The galaxy is vast, and there is more for you to see. more for humans to show. Ethan smiled, standing to meet her. I'm ready. Lyra nodded, and together they walked toward the docking bay. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, a canvas of opportunity and challenge. The universe was vast, full of dangers and wonders alike, but for the first time, Ethan felt no fear. He knew that humans, with their ingenuity, courage, and adaptability, could face anything, even the stars themselves. And so, the quiet engineer from Astra 9 became something greater. He became a symbol of human potential, proof that even in a galaxy filled with advanced civilizations, the smallest species could rise, could endure, and could triumph. Lyra glanced at him, her eyes reflecting the countless stars outside. You are ready, she said. Let us see what humans can truly do. Together, they stepped into the unknown, leaving the quiet station behind. Ethan's heart pounded with excitement, fear, and anticipation. This was only the beginning. The galaxy was theirs to explore, and for the first time, he understood that humans were not just passengers in the universe. They were players, and Ethan, once a solitary engineer, would lead the way.